Chapter 4 Monologue of Coronavirus. At the end of the Second World War, my name was invented by the scientists of the century. I was part of a lot of research, and sometimes I'm made to believe that my origin is zoonotic. I did not choose to live among humans, but where my home was, no harm could reach me. I lived in harmony with those who host me, and provide me with enough to keep me alive, vital substances and the necessary temperature. My fulfillment was complete and fair. My presence was not a nuisance for my host, and my excitement was causing tickling and swarming. I was sheltered from the drought and humidity in the walls of my host, which was my only home, promoting my growth. Sometimes curiosity invites me inside my admirer, just to become a brand and to have my imprint in the future generation. I was taught that my ancestors were there at the beginning of time, and that I am part of evolution. The existence of my family is revealed in ancient times. After 1.5 billion years of evolution, the scientists of this century still dispute my ranking. I carried life in me despite being treated like a very simple being. Speaking of being, sometimes they played a trick on me, making me believe that I am nothing without the support of my host. The existence I have has no basis if my benefactor does not permit it. But what is certain, once they talk about me, they do not find a place for me and continue to discuss my category. That when they still talk about my rank on an evolutionary scale, it's that I exist. These scientists that await me so much, they are not self-sufficient. They need others who were born before them to be able to survive. Ruska, 1931. They need to know we're interconnected. Every time one thinks of my insignificance, it causes their pain and misfortune. Despite them, I do not possess the qualities to construct my constitution as a being, but I evolve bacteria or plasmids. These geniuses have the chance to see some members of my family through small electronic tools, and they took centuries to discover us. Some say that my existence is intercellular and even cellular waste. Some people go to extremes to say, according to their hypothesis, I am on the rise or in decline. No one comes to a conclusion. They said I do not possess the intrinsic quality of reproduction, devoid of internal balance, and I do not respond to stimuli, and worse, I have no metabolic activity. Kunin, 2006. Let me remind you that we are not all cruel or deadly. We help geniuses fight certain cancers and eliminate some of our brothers, some viruses and some bacteria. We cede to these scientists the privilege of our secrets to exterminate us. They invent vaccines and certain antibiotics, rhabdoviridae, a virus in the fight against certain cancers. Let me tell you that our presence will help you provide the key to success. By means of seeking, you will gain knowledge to discover our secrets. I exist, intending to provide solutions to problems. I'm not here to tease you, but to awaken your curiosity and your ability to think. I am here to tell you that you can do better by getting to work, and telling you that epistemology must not stop, and the fragment that I am is not going to disappear. Without your help, I will remain a fragment, roaming in the atmosphere and every corner of this planet. For I have vectors including you, my scientists, for you are one of many. Some members of my family want to live in harmony, and others force you out of the mundane life. You say that greatness is rightfully yours, and that you dominate everything that moves. Articulate speech doesn't make you master and lord. Look carefully. Once the host gives us hospitality, the power becomes rightfully mine. We take control of everything. My family and I hate loneliness, and our ambition is to live and dominate. Before I talk about my prowess, I will give you the definition of the different elements that make up my viral entity. We have the nucleic acid, which is none other than the content of my information. We also call it the genome, and this acid can be an RNA or a DNA. Humans have DNA and RNA, with a different final product than us. Man will name a small human a child, similar to man. A viral family will give a virion. After the viral genome, we have another protein that serves as a cover for the genome and union of the genome, and it is called nucleocapsid, and our outer envelope is made of fat. In fact, it is my breed and others with small variations. Famous geniuses of this time gave me the name coronavirus, from Latin. June Almeida and David Tyrrell see my beauty resplendent like the sun covered with a crown on the head. Those of your race presented me like a king, and I am ravaging everything in my path. From the beginning of 1930, I attacked chickens and killed them. Without hiding from you, I aim for your race as soon as I appear. But it was in 1960 that I became a declared human persecutor. My transaction began in 2003 as SARS-CoV, in 2004 as HCOV-NL6, in 2005 as HCOV-HKU1, and in 2019 as MERS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2. In April 2003, the Asian population was under the influence of a disaster called SARS, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. The World Health Organization saw that many laboratories were responsible for this problem. 7 months later, a discovery was made among some children with symptoms of respiratory infection, and the pathogen was human coronavirus, NL63, coming from bats, and one of the affected countries was the Netherlands. In January 2005, 2 patients in Hong Kong were found to be positive for human coronavirus, HKU1, with the same respiratory infection whose vector was mice. In 2012, this species manifested as a runny nose, and in 2015, case detection started in at least 21 countries, which were predominantly Middle Eastern. The World Health Organization named it Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS-CoV, AMA 2006. The new virus has been named SARS-CoV-2, which appeared at the end of 2019, whose first vector was in the bones of bats, which also contaminated humans with harmful traits, which can lead to death. The first cases were detected in China, in the population of Wuhan, which was once the capital of China in 1927 under the regime of Wang Jingwei. It has been observed that the disease can be transmitted between people. These people developed respiratory symptoms and other symptoms related to different organs, depending on their state of health. We were dealing with a public health contagion, but when the problem starts to affect a community, we're talking about an epidemic. Each infection requires an incubation period, i.e., the period between exposure and the onset of the disease. During this period, the coronavirus carrier has no symptoms and appears as a healthy carrier, but has the ability to transmit the disease to other people. According to the Journal of Internal Medicine, this incubation period for coronavirus is 5 to 14 days. To penetrate human cells, coronavirus must attach to the angiotensin-converting enzyme 2 receptors. It is a protein found on the inner surface of the blood vessels in the lungs and has a role in regulating blood pressure. To discover the full substance of my being, man struggles through time to try to understand me and the manifestation of other diseases.